Good evening, everybody. It is April 19th, 2022. It is a Tuesday, and yesterday, or today after the bell, we heard from Netflix. So Netflix reported earnings. EPS actually came in a little bit better than analysts' expectations, but the stock is down over 25% after the bell, after pretty disappointing results. So Netflix lost 200,000 paying subscribers for the first quarter. And I believe this is the first quarter in 12 years, or almost a decade, that Netflix have actually been net negative subscribers. So every single quarter, every single year, they've actually been net positive subscriptions, but Reed Hastings and his team has a couple of excuses as to why they've been losing subscribers. Number one, obviously, is increased competition. We see Disney Plus, we see Hulu, and we see so many other streaming services out there that are getting into streaming and thus taking away some market share from Netflix. So we'll talk about that. Another big topic that came up on the call amongst analysts and Reed Hastings and his team was the big issue of password sharing. Yes, Netflix has been running into big headwinds of people sharing their passwords to their Netflix subscriptions. So pretty much, I would probably estimate a good 30% of people who actually watch Netflix probably don't pay for it. They probably use their friends or family's Netflix password and account. So Reed Hastings really advised investors that they are taking concrete steps to sort of put a kibosh to all of that activity. But one of the things that really caught my eye about this earnings report is that they are going to be experimenting with a non-paid version of Netflix that will exclusively run ads to the platform and try to make up some of that lost revenue via selling advertisements. And I think that's actually a pretty good idea. So we're going to be talking about that tonight on the stream. The S&P 500 ended up about 2% or 1.61% for the day at 4,462. If we take a quick look at crude oil, or the futures for crude, ticker symbol CL, we are back above 100, sitting at $102.83. So let's see who we have in the chat for tonight. I see my good friend Joey says hey. I see Kev Bear says hi. Dante Rose, the one and only. Vinny Castellano says hello. Hope you had a good day, my friend. So I had a pretty good day, Vinny Castellano. Thank you so much for joining from the one and only Staten Island. Otto is here, says hello. Good to see you, Otto. Sebastian says hey, Tom. Corey says good evening. Welcome, everybody. So just let me put my computer away and then we will get started. It is Miami Tech Week. So Tech Week is pretty big in Miami. So a lot of not only tech investors, but people who work in tech in general, from Silicon Valley, from New York, San Antonio, Texas, really from all over the nation, ascend on Miami this week for conferences, for events, for parties. So downtown Miami and Brickell should be pretty packed tonight with all of the people attending Miami Tech Week. So if anybody in the chat is here for Miami Tech Week, feel free to reach out and maybe we will meet up. So let's see who else we have in the chat. Michelle McGraw, welcome. Chris Beeman is here. Good to see you, Chris. Tamara says, Tom, I have a 25-year-old son who is a recent college graduate, and I was really surprised at how many of his friends use his Netflix account. Yeah, so that's such a good observation because, you know, a lot of analysts on Wall Street, and I think even many of you and me in the chat, this was one of our main concerns with Netflix. And it's, you know, it's not like Reed Hastings and his team, you know, ever since they came out, and they really had that first mover advantage, right? So I think the biggest value proposition over Netflix is they had that really big first mover advantage. But as time went on, and as a lot of other companies noticed, wow, this is a pretty good business model, streaming and subscription-based revenue for watching shows and movies, you know, we saw so many other competitors enter in the space. And I think one of the biggest competitors right now is probably Disney Plus. And Amazon also has their own subscription streaming service too. So it comes down to a point, how many of these sort of streaming services are consumers willing to pay up for, right? And I think we were talking about this the other day, and statistics show that number is actually about 3 subscription services. So it doesn't necessarily have to be winner takes all. Maybe you subscribe to Netflix because you really like one particular show, and then you subscribe to Disney Plus because maybe you have kids, and then you have a subscription to Amazon because it comes with your Amazon Prime account. I don't know. But I think there's multiple factors that went into this 200,000 subscriber decline, and we'll talk about it a little bit more on the stream. Yo, Destructionist is here. It says, happy Tuesday, Tom. Hey, Destructionist, good to see you, my friend. I hope you're well. Hey, Tomorrow says, I have decided to make Miami my next vacation spot. Hey, well, welcome. I think you're gonna love it. It's not too bad now in Miami. Probably in the next month or so, that's when it's going to get extremely hot. And I mean really hot. But for me, I actually don't mind the heat and humidity, but there's a lot of people that don't like it. So I think we have about a month left here in Miami before the temperatures start getting ripping. So I think now is a good time to visit, unless you like the heat and humidity. And if that's the case, I think you should be fine. Hey, Bernard Friedman, welcome. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Let's see. Michelle McGraw says, Tom, I got a year free of Apple TV and Disney Plus when I got my iPhone. Michelle, I think I got the same thing, but I just never signed up for it. I got to check that out. I got mine through Verizon, so I think they give you, with a cell phone account, I think they give you like 1 year free of exactly what you said, of Disney Plus. Hulu's out now too. So there's just a lot of competition. But also another point that I wanted to make, and I'll give you guys a quick view of the skyline here in downtown Miami with the Paramount building. I think in terms of, because in my opinion, and it's going to sound really crazy, I don't think today's earnings report on Netflix was egregious. I wouldn't say it's really terrible, because you got to understand, if we talk about free cash flow generation, I believe Netflix generated over $800 million in free cash this quarter, up from about $692 million in free cash this time last year. So Netflix is not a bad company. I just think that there's a multifaceted reason why subscribers are declining. And I think the biggest thing is the comparables from the last quarter. What was going on this time last year and 2 years ago? Well, we were in a global pandemic, unfortunately, and when you were on lockdown, there was really nothing to do. So people signed up for Netflix. But now, and this data actually sort of supports my supposition here, because yesterday's stream we were talking about Bank of America, and one of the key pieces of data that came out of Bank of America's earnings report was that credit card spending is up across the board at the bank, but one of the main sectors that consumers are spending on is travel and entertainment. So if we know that consumers are now spending more money on travel and entertainment, going out to bars and restaurants, that really signals a really seismic shift in the economy, and I think that's a good thing. So instead of people spending money on Netflix and streaming because they're locked in their homes on lockdown, I think you saw probably 2 years of pull forward in terms of subscribers added to Netflix, probably maybe even more. And now that things are finally opening back up, people don't want to sit in the house and watch Netflix anymore. They want to go out and travel. They want to walk around Miami and New York City and stream for 3 hours a night, right? They don't want to sit inside and watch Netflix. So that's sort of one of my, I guess, and I'm not saying I'm right, but that's sort of where my head is at. I kind of want to know where you guys are at with that. So why do you think Netflix is bleeding subscribers? And do you think they could turn it around? And sort of what are some of the things that you think that they could do to turn it around? But it wasn't all bad, because they generated over $800 million of free cash. We cannot forget that. Hey, Sanjib is here, says, I have decided to make Toronto, Ontario my next vacation spot. I may go to Toronto this year as well. I love Toronto. Hey, VM Kings is here. Good to see you, VM Kings. Happy Tuesday. XOXX Bob is here. Sabrina Fair is here. Bernard Friedman's and Jib. Welcome everybody. My good friend and moderator Ruby Falcone. Good to see you, Ruby. Hope you're doing well. Says it's lots of competition. I agree with that, Corey. I agree. Tons of competition. Hey, Elliott Wave Review. What's up? Says, hey Tom. Why don't you connect with AK? He's streaming right now in the same area as you. No way. That's awesome. I did not know that. That's awesome, man. For some reason, I thought AK was, what's it called? I thought he was driving to New York City for some reason. Otto says Netflix has increased their prices, not necessarily their content. Otto, you're correct as well. So Netflix has increased their prices. And that's sort of, so Otto, I think you make a good point. And I think we could talk about that for a second, because I forget which analysts asked the question, but they said it was something, the question was something along the lines of total saturation in the market. They said, do you think that you're near a peak of total saturation? And I believe it was Reed Hastings said something along the lines of, we don't think we're at total saturation, but we do think that consumers are exhausted right now because of inflation and other economic pressures. I'm not sure if I'm buying that, but what he did say is we are exploring a free option to Netflix, in which case we will only run advertisements. Right? And I think that's actually a really good idea, because imagine how many more people would watch Netflix, or sort of, I guess for lack of a better terminology, a dumbed down version of Netflix, if it was completely free and they just ran advertisements, sort of like what they do on YouTube, right? I mean, YouTube is free. You don't really have to pay to use YouTube, but you just have to watch a couple advertisements. So, assuming Netflix rolls something out similar to that, I think that may create a pretty decent tailwind for the stock. But who knows? It's down 25% after hours, Netflix. Hey, Bob says this is the new MacArthur Bridge, about $500 million. Wow. Yeah, so right under there, it looks like there is a bridge that's going to be going over this overpass. And hopefully that'll help alleviate some of the traffic here in downtown Miami. Hey, WW says, I would immediately cancel my monthly subscription then. Why would that help them? Yeah, so I think a couple things, right? So a lot of the times, let's say if you offer a free version of Netflix, it probably will have basic content, but the shows that are really Seinfeld just signed a deal with Netflix to where every single Seinfeld episode will now be on Netflix. So something like that will probably be behind a paywall. But to bring in more people, they'll probably let you, maybe watch a couple seasons of your favorite show for free with advertisements. And then that's how they get you on the hook. And then they try to convert you over to a paid subscriber. I don't know. That's just sort of one way I think of it. But I think you make a good point, though, WW. Let's see who else we have. NNB045, welcome. Says Netflix should introduce streaming sports events to increase memberships. That's actually a really good idea. I never thought about that. But so how would that work? Maybe they can't do that because a lot of other sporting events have other deals with other providers like ESPN and Disney and all that. Way to increase revenue there. Unlimited Stimulus says Netflix should get into gaming. That's a good idea. Maria, good to see you, Maria. EBITDA says Walks from Wall Street. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall in Pershing Square when they heard on the news about Netflix. Ackman bought 30 million shares in Netflix last month. Yeah, so EBITDA, you were right on the money with that one. I mean, so that was the first thing, EBITDA, to your point, that was the first thing I thought about when Netflix posted their horrible report. If you guys remember correctly, to EBITDA's point, a hedge fund manager and founder of Pershing Square Capital, or Pershing Square Capital Management, based out of New York, he bought a massive stake in Netflix, and he's probably down about 40% on that position. I mean, assuming he didn't hedge. I mean, the stock is down about 25% today alone. So definitely a big sting there. But earnings per share on an EPS basis came in at actually $3.53. Consensus on Wall Street was that Netflix was going to earn about $2.89. So they actually did have an earnings beat on the top line. On the bottom line. On the top line, they came up a little bit short, but they did grow revenues about 10%. Revenue at Netflix came in at $7.87 billion. Analysts on Wall Street were expecting $7.93 billion. So a little bit of a miss there. But the stock got absolutely hammered after hours after they reported losing 200,000 subscribers. But here's something interesting that also came out of the earnings report. Supposedly every single person who had a Netflix account in Russia, they were all turned down automatically due to the conflict that's going on between Russia and Ukraine. So Russia accounted for a net loss of 700,000 subscribers. So if this whole Russia situation never happened or never came to fruition, Netflix wouldn't be net negative subscribers, but still, I mean, Netflix is used to growing at like 1 million subscribers a quarter. So to have net negative, that's pretty concerning. But then again, I mean, the only favor for Netflix is that, we just came off of a global pandemic where everybody was locked in their homes, and the only thing that was available to do is watch Netflix and watch shows. So they've probably had what's called a pull forward of revenue of about 2 years of pull forward. So look, I think Netflix is still a good business. Netflix is by no means a bad business, but this in the stock market is why oftentimes a stock will trade at a premium, or it'll have a really high price to earnings ratio. So it just depends. Are investors willing to pay 20 times, 30 times, 40 times earnings for Netflix now that they are sort of in stagnation mode? Investors want to pay for growth. That's why a lot of these high beta growth stocks could have PE ratios in the hundreds. So for Netflix to sort of be a mature or at maturation, I think it's probably over the long term, the PE is probably going to settle down into the the low range of the double digits. I will show you guys 1000 Museum, one of my favorite buildings here. Hey, Peter Webley, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Good to see you. 007 says Netflix became too political/environmental. Says Webley says Netflix and Disney are woke and losing customers because of it, says Peter. Cypress Hill, good to see you. Welcome. Samantha R is here. Tish TV says Tom is all the bag. Good to see you, Tish TV. Welcome. The ABX girl, the one and only, says the plus about Netflix is all the show content from Europe, South America, and South Africa. Yeah, LATAM, subscriber growth in Latin America was actually pretty poor. But to your point, ABX girl, I agree. Let's see who else we have. We have Gregory. Hey, Gregory, good to see you, my friend. Says, how many subscribers does Netflix even have? Oh, I think we got something going on here. I'm not sure on the exact subscriber number, total subscribers. I'm not sure about that. But I would be curious to find out. Lou Lopez says Netflix. This is Lou Lopez. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of feedback in the chat that this could potentially be a political thing as to why subscribers are going down. I'm not sure if I agree with that, but I definitely won't dismiss that sort of thought process at all. I'd like to explore that. Estelle is here. Welcome, Estelle. It's always good to see you. It says Cobra Kai made Netflix more popular when it started. So I think Seinfeld is also now joining Netflix. Penelope says Netflix really needs to open up international content. VPNs are making the profit so that people can watch no matter what country you are in, says Penelope. Welcome, Penelope, from the one and only Tennessee. So let's head towards the main arena here. Tish TV is here, the ABX girl, Cynthia Beale, Gregory, Ruby Falcone, welcome. Penelope says, I think I have binge watched everything I want to on. Someone said earlier, lack of content. Yeah, so that's actually another fantastic point. So a lot of people, like let's say during the pandemic, right? Everybody sat home and watched Netflix. There was literally nothing else to do. And at the same time, when everybody was binge watching and signing up for Netflix, the lockdowns were going on, right? So what does that mean? That means all of the content is pretty much exhausted, and there's probably going to be a 12-month lag time in order to get new content, because it's not like these people were shooting new shows and movies during the pandemic, right? I mean, all of that stuff was sort of shut down. So I think a lot of consumers, such as you guys in the chat, or at least that's the feedback I'm getting, is saying, look, I've exhausted every single show, every single possibility of me to be entertained on Netflix. The pandemic is over. Once they have new shows, maybe I'll sign up for Netflix again, but until then, the economy's open. I'd rather spend my money elsewhere. Now that the economy and the borders are open back up, I want to spend my money, maybe on a 2-week trip to wherever in the world, right? And I think we saw this last week when all the major investment banks reported earnings. And if we look at the credit card data, and this is why I always like to pay attention during earnings season when the major financials are reporting. And the reason for that is because if you talk about Citigroup, if you talk about Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, the vast majority of credit card transaction and the credit card issuance are from those companies, right? So from the data, oh, hold on. I think someone just got pulled over. But if we look at the data and pay attention to the data from that, we could say, like Jamie Dimon came right out, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase. He said the majority of our credit card transactions shows that consumers are now shifting their spending habits to entertainment and travel. And the only reason why I could think of why that is because COVID is pretty much over in the United States. Everybody's vaccinated. Well, at least everybody has had the opportunity to get vaccinated, right? Vaccines are readily available everywhere. The CDC has now lifted guidance of wearing masks on planes and in public places. So open back up again. So it means full steam ahead for traveling. It means full steam ahead for air travel. And the data backs that up. Jamie Dimon said the majority of credit card transactions, consumer spending is shifting away from activities such as ordering in and staying inside and spending money at Home Depot to furnish your home to buying airline tickets, buying travel packages. So I think, and one of the things that got cut out is probably Netflix. Nobody wants to stay at home anymore. Bernard Friedman says the pandemic was horrible. Agreed. Jonathan France says very true. Tish TV says let's go Hawks. Oh yeah, there's a game going on tonight, isn't there? Ali says, how do you watch every show on Netflix? I don't have a Netflix account. I don't watch Netflix, to be totally honest with you. Tish TV says agreed. Hey, Lena Sandoval is here. Welcome, Lena. Hope you're doing well. It's a beautiful night out. Today, a very hot day. Today was a very, very hot day here in Florida, but now it actually feels like the air conditioning is on outside. It's actually really nice. Yogi says, I went through the only thing open in LA was Hollywood, or I thought the only thing open in LA was Hollywood. Lori E says, hey everybody. Estelle says, Binge is a great app here in Australia. Samantha R, good to see you. Snoopy says, no Massapequa, will live in South Florida. Now debating with myself to stay in Florida or go back to New York. Cost of living is less than New York City. Quality of life is better in New York. David says, hello, Sir Tom, good to see you. Penelope, good to see you. Lori E says, there's so many other options for subscription watching now. Yeah, so that's another thing, cannibalization of the industry, right? These things have become commoditized. You have, that's actually a really good point. So Lori E, what is the threshold of subscription services and streaming services people can have? You know, the Wall Street Journal came out with some, I really want to say very anecdotal data. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe it's probably pretty conclusive. But they said the average American can handle about 2 to 3 streaming services, which I don't know about that. But I mean, if you get sick of these things, I just think consumer spending is shifting a little bit. But it's not like the whole earnings report was horrible, right? I mean, in all fairness, it's not like the entire earnings report was horrible, because at the end of the day, Netflix generated $802 million worth of free cash this quarter. And this time last year, the company only generated about $692 million of free cash. So that's an additional $100 million of free cash flow the company generated. Yes, they're growing slower, so I think the market is going to discount it, and there's going to be some PE compression. Usually markets tend to throw tantrums and surprise to the downside just as much as they surprise to the upside. Sabrina Fair, what's up? Elliott Wave Review says, Tom, do you think the government should increase financial incentives for couples to have more kids? I don't think so. I think any sort of population control and incentivization really never works, to be honest. But then again, that's just my view. What do you think, Elliott Wave Review? Gregory says, Hawks and Heat are in the fourth quarter right now. 91 to 78 Heat are leading. Oh, so we may see all the people come out then. This is a beautiful view of the Freedom Tower right here, one of my favorite buildings in the entire Miami. Running at altitude says Apple has live MLB games and is in the process of bidding for NFL tickets. Absolutely massive. That will be massive. I did not know that, running at altitude. If that comes to fruition, running at altitude, that's going to be absolutely massive, because one of the things that is sort of, I don't really want to say it's a rumor, because technically everything at Apple is a rumor, because they're so tight-lipped. You can't get any sort of information out of Apple. They do a really good job at keeping things a secret, but supposedly one of their next biggest product launches is going to be in the augmented reality. So potentially, maybe they could create some sort of subscription package. This is the Metro Mover, by the way. We may take this a little bit later. Maybe they could create some sort of subscription package where you can watch these NFL games or basketball or MLB games or baseball games in the metaverse, and put on your AR headset or VR headset and sort of go to town with it. And I think that would probably do really well, actually. I think that would actually probably do really well. Estelle says YouTube is still doing well. Yeah, so YouTube is doing very, very well. That's probably one of the largest profit centers at Alphabet right now, in addition to their search business, probably. Hey, War Walker, good to see you. Hope you're happy. Elliott Wave Review says, Tom, the reason I asked is because population growth is in decline in the United States and other developed countries because people aren't having kids anymore. So I think you're right, and that concern is very valid. And I think one of the main reasons, and this is just my opinion, anytime I say something that's opinionated, I like to tell everybody, because some people could take it as fact. I think one of the main reasons why people are not having kids in America is because it's too expensive, right? I saw something crazy, a statistic today I was reading on Twitter. Twitter is a great place, by the way, if you want to find out a lot of financial information and data from a lot of big players on Wall Street. But now the pet market, the total pet market for dogs and cats, is larger than the child market, so like toys for kids and things like that. So the average millennial, they essentially, probably what they're saying is, look, it's more affordable for me to have a dog or a cat than a kid. It's not like I have to drop 250 grand for the dog to go to college. I mean, at least not yet. But if you have kids, that's sort of $1 million decision, technically, isn't it? I mean, over the lifetime of raising that kid, you're probably going to spend $1 million on them. I mean, especially now, right? You got to raise the kid, you got to give the kid food, water, shelter. You got to educate your children, you got to send them off to college. God forbid if you want them to go to a private school. So I think a lot of people are realizing that and are saying, look, I'd rather have a dog or a cat because I just can't afford a kid. But again, that's my opinion, and I want to know what you guys think, because we probably have a lot more people in here that are more experienced in terms of kids than I am. So I would love to hear everybody's perspectives on that, even if you disagree, because maybe I'm totally wrong. Lewis says, you still need a lot of money for a cat and a dog. Yeah, I think you're right, but probably not as much as a kid, probably. And also a dog's lifespan is, what, 12 years? Is that fair? A dog's lifespan is about 12 years? TQ says $250K, where the hell is he going to college? Harvard? Yeah, look at if you send your kid to any sort of private college, it's about like 70 grand a year. You go to New York University, I think it's like $70,000 a year, isn't it? TMB, hey, what's up? Says, I have a dog. Good to see ya. TQ says, if you want to raise your kids in Beverly Hills, then yeah, don't have any. Yeah, I think probably more places are expensive than others. Unlimited stimulus is, with inflation running high, next 10 years are going to be expensive raising a family and for real estate. I think you're right. Miami walking and driving tours, welcome my friend. Says, I agree that the expense of a kid struggling just to get by. Says Miami. For you says, even when they graduate college, kids still cost. Yeah, because not everybody, to your point, has the luxury of just graduating college and getting a job. Sometimes it could take a long time for you to get a job out of college. But I think this is my favorite view of the skyline of downtown Miami from the south side here. War Walker says, I have 2 cat kids and they're very big vet expense bills. Forever 18 says, the USA will have more immigrants moving in the post-pandemic area. We would expect the immigrants increase in Northeast Asia, East Europeans, and South America. Penelope W. B and I only have cats and we are in our 50s. I mean, to think about it though, it is kind of sad, because back in the day, let's say if you were raising kids in the 1950s, back in the day, and I know this is a little bit off topic from the Netflix thing, but I think this is actually a really good conversation to have. I think it's very relevant and important. In the 1950s and 60s, oftentimes the husband would go out to work and the wife was able to stay home with the kids because it was possible to live off of one income. But nowadays, it's very, very difficult to just live off of a single income, right? And those gender roles could be reversed. So let's just play the same thing out. Back in the day, it was easy for a guy to stay at home and the wife to go to work and vice versa and make enough money to raise the kids and sort of have that, I guess, cliche American dream, right? But now it's sort of like you need all hands on deck. And even in many families, once the kids turn 16, 17, those kids are told to go to work just to help pay the bills for the household. So, I think that has a lot to do with it, is just the crazy amount of money printing and inflation. I mean, no way. I mean, very seldom do we in the 50s and 60s where you could have one person working in the family and then one person staying home with the kids and raising them. I think very seldom do we see that anymore. GGMYC, how are you? Says, you really have to have the time and know how to educate kids before having them. Not easy. to have them these days. Yeah, so GGNYC, I agree with you 100%. And think about, raising your kid during the pandemic, right? So for many, many people, and we were talking about this ad nauseum on our streams in New York, the pandemic happened, a lot of the times, especially in New York City, when you send your kids to school, that's essentially their daycare, right? That's how these kids eat. Not everybody has the ability to work remote and homeschool their kids during the pandemic. A lot of parents have to go out and actually physically go to their jobs. So it was a massive, massive headache for a lot of these parents to, not only take on the responsibility of working and feeding their children, but now they have to educate them to themselves. Because let's face it, and I mean, maybe some of the people in here could chime in that actually have kids in the chat. But do you think the vast majority of these kids are actually paying attention with this remote learning? I mean, I could just tell you, if I was a high school student and we were doing the remote learning, I would probably be just not even paying attention with my personality. And I'm not saying that to sort of sound like I'm a big shot. I just don't have the attention span for it. Like, if you expect kids to go on Skype and have all the distractions of being home, the dog is running around, their siblings are running around, you got the neighbor knocking on your door. I mean, you really think that's a good environment for learning? I don't know. I don't think so, but I would love to know your guys' thoughts on that. Triple G is free daycare plus free lunch. Yeah, a lot of people depend on it. A lot of kids, especially in New York City, and probably here in Miami too, depend on public schools being open as a form of daycare, and they get breakfast and lunch. Hey, Arturo Flores, welcome, my friend. Sabrina Fair says, yep. Lori E says, I've been a stay-at-home mom. Our youngest is about to be 15. I'm about to work myself out of a job that I love. Ooh, Lori E. Well, thank you for that perspective. First jobs are mostly all disappearing due to automation. I think you're right. Like, a lot of the the fast food jobs and the warehousing jobs will probably be gone via automation. I do agree with. I think that's a good point too. Jetstar says, Tom, teachers unions forced remote learning. Penelope says, I think we are social creatures and kids need to be around other kids. I think so too. I mean, I think back to when I was in high school. It was fun, hanging out with my friends at lunch and recess and all that stuff, playing soccer. But I mean, if you just sit home all day, maybe it's fun for like 2 or 3 weeks, but not the whole year. JF says, it depends on the age. High school, yes. Younger, not so much. I think that's a fantastic perspective. I think that's probably the comment of the night, because if you think about it, if you're self-sufficient, and I think I probably give kids a little bit too much credit, but I think once you hit 16 years old, you're pretty much a self-sufficient adult. I know that the legal age is technically 18, but I mean, when I was 16, I had a job. I could pretty much take care of myself in terms of doing my homework and being responsible. But I mean, if you're a 3 and 4 year old and you're not going to school, there's no way you're gonna, develop the actual. I don't really want to say education, because I think 5 or 6, the majority of the education you get is by interacting with other people. Seeing facial expressions, developing speech patterns. I think that is the key education there. So to your point, how can you do that remotely? I don't think you can. I mean, maybe you can. I'm not an expert in this at all, but that's just sort of my, thoughts on it. Elliott Wave Review says, Tom, if you agree that people aren't having kids because of the money aspect, why did you say the government should offer financial incentives to have couples? Yeah, because usually, if you look back throughout history, anytime the government sort of offers any subsidy program or tries to give incentivization or help, it just worsens the problem. An example of this would be back, before the financial crisis, all of those programs that were geared towards low-income people to help them get into homes, it actually just backfired, and all of those people that were in those government programs to help them get into homes with low down payments, all of those people had to file for bankruptcy. And I think the same sort of thing would happen with those sort of incentives. But technically, we already have those incentives to an extent, right? I mean, you get tax credits for children. I'm not sure exactly how much they are. I mean, I think if you have 3 kids, you get what, like $3,000 a kid in tax credit. But again, don't quote me on those numbers. Caddy says, I think remote work is not good either, but that's just my opinion. What will happen to all the skyscrapers that are empty, and why are they building more? I think that's a good question too. I think a lot of those buildings will probably be turned into affordable housing. Well, at least let's hope that. And something similar happened back in the day in Lower Manhattan, because if you think about, and this was even happening before 9/11, right? So back in the old school days of Wall Street, near Bond Street, were individualized broker dealers, right? Because back in the day, people would actually trade with physical sheets of paper, right? They were running across the street, handing stock tickers back and forth, right? So ever since the introduction of technology and algorithmic trading, we don't need to be so close to each other anymore. And especially after 9/11, the horrible terrorist attacks, the majority of the investment banks, the hedge funds, the private equity firms, all the Wall Street guys, none of them really work down on Wall Street anymore. It's all Park Avenue, it's all Midtown near Times Square. I think the only major bank that's located actually on Wall Street is Deutsche Bank. I think that's the only one that's actually physically located on Wall Street. So what they did, the point that I'm trying to make, is what they did is all of those office buildings, a lot of real estate developers came in, bought out those buildings, and totally gut renovated them for luxury apartment complexes. Now, they probably did that because luxury apartments probably have better gross margins, but maybe there'll be some sort of incentivization to build affordable housing units out of some of those, office buildings that will be vacant. But that's just one of my thoughts. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen, but a lot of these sort of office sharing companies like WeWork and ServCorp are probably going to take over a lot of the leases and sort of start a subscription basis office sharing sort of environment. But that's just my thoughts. Hey, Cynthia Beale says, I would live in a Wall Street apartment. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of them are really expensive. It's ridiculous. Almost like $3,000 a month. Shannon says, social media has destroyed today's youth. What happened to writing someone a letter or calling them on the phone? Today's generational social skills are destroyed. That's an interesting comment. I'm not sure if I agree with it, but I do see where you're coming from, and I think that's a great comment. I don't think the social skills are destroyed by social media. I think people are not too keen of change, but I do see your point there. Hey, Kareem says, how are you? Hey, Kareem. Snoopy says, affordable housing should be available nationwide. Good to see you, Snoopy. Josh Ray says, JP Morgan Chase announced a new tower to replace 270. That tower is so beautiful. I think the New York Post came out with an article actually showcasing some pictures of the new JP Morgan Chase building, and it looks awesome, dude. That building looks really, really cool. Let's see where we should go here. Lizzie Hack says, Jay-Z bought a building with others. All will be low income. Where did he buy that? I didn't hear about that. Did he buy that in New York, Lizzie? Or was that... If you could drop a link to that, I'd actually be really intrigued by that. Ali, good to see you. Estelle says, it sure looks fantastic. Good to see you, Estelle. Jetstar says, today's generation doesn't even talk to one another. Well, maybe the fundamental norms of communication have changed, right? It doesn't mean that they don't talk to each other necessarily, but maybe the forms of communication have changed. Now, and I agree that social media has had a negative impact, But I think the overreaching trend, perhaps, I think the sidewalk is closed on this end. Actually, maybe, I don't think it is. Hold on. I can't see if that is a opening or not. But yeah, maybe it's just the norms of communication have changed, or the mediums. Caddy says the stats are teenagers are reporting increased depression and suicide themselves due to social media. That's horrible. So do you, and not to get too political, because I know this always turns into a political debacle, but do you guys think, and again, let me preface this to say I don't have the data on this. This is speculation, because I know a lot of people sometimes get upset. Do you guys think the pandemic has actually had substantial negative impacts on children's mental health? Again, I don't have data to prove it, but I'm not trying to get in a COVID debate or a COVID discussion. All I'm saying is I think the lockdowns negatively impacted kids' mental health. That's the supposition, but I don't have any data to back that up. But I want to know what you guys think. Tish TV says, Tom, I agree with you about social media and our youth. However, it's a much bigger problem, and it's guns, in my opinion. So gun violence is a bigger problem. It's said that so many people feel the need to be strapped. Yeah, so I mean, if we want to talk about New York specifically, so Tish, I think you make a good point. So now I think if we explore that sort of thought a little bit, and I think it's probably worth doing. Why do we think that is? Right? Why do we think that kids or students or high schoolers feel the need to be armed? And talking about New York, we have a police force that is larger than some nations' armies. Okay, to put that into perspective. So the NYPD is larger than some armies across the globe, but yet we're still dealing with high crime. And it's not just New York. You could say the same thing about Miami. I'm just using New York because I'm from New York and I was going to be an NYPD officer. But you could use the same thing about Miami or any sort of city across the United States. We have the resources, right? We have the police presence, but why are children still not feeling safe? I think that's a very interesting question. Jetstar says it's probably... Penelope says, yes, Tom, it absolutely has affected all of us. Nirvana Fan 500, what's up, dude? Says, yes, absolutely, no doubt. As a student, the lockdowns ruined me. That sucks, man. I hate to hear that. You know, I think it would, if I was a student, and I just missed all of this, right? I think I lucked out because I just skated out of college before all of this lockdown craziness and the pandemic. So I missed it all, thankfully. So I didn't have to go through that. But yeah, I mean, I could imagine. I mean, imagine if you're a senior, you want to go to all the prom stuff. I mean, I wasn't really a big fan of any of that stuff, but a lot of people are. You want to hang out with your friends, you're never going to see them again because you're going off to college, and then you're sort of locked down. So it definitely could affect mental health. Yo, Kitchen Lab is here. What's up? Hey, Abdullah, welcome, dude. Long time no see. I hope you're well. Says, hey, Tom, hopefully you are doing well. I am, Abdullah. Good to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you on the stream. Yo, Action Kid says, hey, Tom, I'm only 2 blocks away from you. What's up, AK? Come say hi, man. So, AK, I think the Action Kid, I think the Miami Heat game is just getting out. But although, I think it's probably not getting out, but everybody always leaves the stadium like 15 minutes before the game ends to beat the traffic. So they pay for a ticket and then they leave at the 4th quarter. But I'm not sure. Maybe it is. Is the game over? Does anybody know? Shannon says, yes, I agree with you on mental health issues. Jose, welcome. Good to see you, Jose. David says the cops are never too late to draw. Abdullah says, I had to do my PhD defense during the lockdown. It was the biggest challenge of my life. My God, I could imagine, man. Lori E says, guns are violent, violent people are violent. A gun in the hands of a law-abiding citizen is no more dangerous than the bat of a baseball. JF, good to see you. Says, go see how kids lived in other countries, lived before the pandemic. Yeah, so that's another good point. So JF, I actually wrote a piece about this in the Behind the Street newsletter. So speaking of the Behind the Street newsletter, that will be sent out to everybody tomorrow after the market closes, because I wanted to add a little Netflix earnings. So if you type !news, NEWS in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link to the Behind the Street newsletter, which is a free financial newsletter I send out to the group every single Monday. If you want to hear our thoughts about the real estate market, the US equities market, and the like, please sign up for that. And last week I wrote about American exceptionalism and sort of American privilege, that we don't really understand what it's like to grow up in a country where the rule is authoritarian regime and dictatorship. And one of the comparisons I was making to this was, well, when I attended the 2022 Bitcoin conference, one of my biggest takeaways is that the United States does not need Bitcoin, but other countries do. Because in the United States, we've had the pleasure or the luxury to grow up with fundamental human rights. We've had property rights, the right to the pursuit of happiness, but other people in other countries around the world can't say the same thing. And there was an interesting statistic that one of the big venture capitalists mentioned at the Bitcoin 2022 conference, is that only 18% of the world is born into a free market, capitalistic, free society. Everybody else is born into a dictatorship regime or an economy that is in hyperinflationary collapse. So I think, to your point, I forget who made that comment, but it was a very good comment. I think it was JL. Let me see. JF says, go see how kids lived in other countries before the pandemic. So I think that's a really good comment to keep things in perspective about just how good we have it in the United States. So I like that comment a lot. Hey, Shannon is here. Cynthia is here. Welcome. Nirvana fan says, at least we are lucky enough to see life changing to normal again. Yeah, so that's true. And I think that, you know, the topic for tonight's stream was, we were talking about Netflix bombed earnings. They lost about 200,000 subscribers this quarter. And I think one of the main reasons for that is people are canceling their Netflix accounts and they're spending more money on experiences. They're going out and traveling, right? And we've actually can confirm this data by Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, where they said the vast majority of new spending on credit cards this most recent quarter was not on things like Netflix, subscription services, but on airline tickets and travel. So I think that is just another, yo, it's AK. What's up? AK, what's up, man?
What's up? Hey,
how are you?
Great.
Is your place this way or that way?
That way.
Oh yeah? Nice,
yeah.
dude. Did you just end your stream?
Yeah, I ended it after I finished cruise ship island.
Oh, nice.
And I went to Bayside.
You know what I was gonna do one day? I was gonna walk to Brickell Key, but I was checking the data speeds. There's no Verizon service on that bridge.
Oh, wow.
So I think I would just go dead. Have you done it before?
AT&T, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get. I think I'm gonna get AT&T for. Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get AT&T for down here because I can literally only stream in this section.
It's tricky.
And then when I go over to Brickell Key, I think the whole thing is gonna go out, and I want to get some footage over there.
Yeah.
But
I've been getting some luck using Speedify.
Okay.
Using AT&T as the primary one, and then Verizon as the hotspot.
So what does Speedify do? It allows you to do dual SIM or something?
It allows you to bond the connections together. Like, they don't tell you exactly
Oh, really?
how the connection works, but it's a VPN that allows you to do that. Yeah.
Holy crap! Because I see you on some of your streams. You take out the SIM and then you put the other SIM
Yeah.
in, so you don't have to do that anymore with this app.
Yeah, this app it like helps that.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I gotta send you the link.
Yes. Where are you headed right now? You headed?
I was gonna head back down there.
Yeah. Yeah. You could walk with us. We'll take a walk.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Action Kid on the stream here.
Yeah. Second time meeting.
Yeah,
And
and
I'm not streaming as I finished.
yeah. So we're gonna walk. I was planning on walking to over the bridge in Brickell,
Uh-huh.
but I'm gonna be down here tomorrow. I gotta go into the office, but
Okay.
I'm actually gonna go back to New York on Friday.
Alright.
I looked at the flights, and this was the only time. It's like the window I'm going to New York. The flights are like $350.
Wow.
Yeah, and the next week, but I gotta go. I gotta go for a meeting next week. But the week after, the flights are $50 again. So I'm gonna get slammed with like a $350 fee, but it sucks.
Considering how much you fly, you should be getting like a frequent flyer discount or something.
Yeah, I think I may use the points, but whenever you go on to like the American Express point thing, the fares are way expensive. Like they make the fares expensive, so it's like the flights are like double. Oh,
I
but
don't want to take over your stream. What's the topic of tonight?
yeah, so we were talking about Netflix earnings report.
Okay.
So Netflix is down 25% after hours. So even though they beat on the top and the bottom line, they lost 200,000 subscribers. One of the reasons, what Reed Hastings, the CEO, one of the things he said is they shut down all subscribers in Russia. So 700,000 paying subscribers in Russia, they just turned them off.
That's huge.
Yeah, so that was huge. But I think the thing is, what a lot of analysts don't expect, and one of my buddies actually had a short thesis on Netflix about this, is that if you think about the pull forward in revenue, when everybody was sitting on their couch in the pandemic, that was probably millions of subscribers.
Right.
And now that the economy is opening up, you have all these people going to sporting events and traveling. People don't want to sit at home and watch Netflix now. So they probably churned and canceled all of their subscriptions.
Interesting. And if you see like another company like Delta, their earnings
Yeah.
are great because people are traveling now.
Yeah, their earnings are great, and I don't know when they report, but I would like to see what their earnings are going to be, because there's a lot of M&A activity in that space. I think what are the two that are going to merge? Frontier and what's that other horrible one?
Spirit.
Yeah, Frontier and Spirit. Yeah.
I know someone who flew Spirit the other day. They said it was horrible.
Yeah, they call it the what is it called? They call it, what is that bus company? They call it the bus in the sky, Greyhound in the sky. Yeah. Let's see, Cindy. Yeah, everybody's like, "What's up?" It's AK. What is up? We got War Walker in here. Namaste. Strider 2 or 1239 says transfer your Amex points to a partner airline, maybe. Interesting. So AK, I thought you were, I saw your video that you posted today of driving from Miami to New York. So I thought you were driving, like, I thought it was like live. Yeah, I thought like, but you recorded it the last time, right? Did you rent a car or did you already?
I have my own.
No way.
Yeah.
What kind? Did you buy a Tesla?
A Camry.
Oh really? Oh nice. Dope. That's awesome. Yeah, I thought you were like a Tesla guy. I thought you were gonna buy a Tesla.
Yeah, the wait time for those Teslas.
Bro, where is Link?
A long time.
Oh really?
And I even thought about it, but like, even with a Tesla, like, how would you drive like in areas where there's no charging stations?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you're gonna drive from Miami to New York in a Tesla, you have to make sure you plan everything out
Yeah.
to see if where the stations are gonna be. That's true.
I get the Uber?
You know, Shot by Scott is here. Good to see you, Shot by Scott. Says, hey Tom, finally catching a live stream. So Shot by Scott is a big photographer here in Miami, and he goes all around Wynwood, checking out the Wynwood walls. That's another place I wanted to stream,
Yeah.
but there's no service.
Yeah.
There's
I was able to do it with the Speedify.
oh yeah,
AT&T and Verizon. I gotta send you the link.
I know. I think we can cross.
Wait till you need to phone plans.
Ah, got it. Yeah, I only have my Verizon. But I told you I'm working on that. So for everybody in the chat, just so you know, I'm working on a startup, and I was telling Action Kid about it, where essentially we're trying to be like the ultimate MVNO, where we make lease agreements with all the major carriers, but the one carrier that we're very, very close to making a lease agreement with is Rogers in Canada. So what we want to do is we want to make like a SIM, one SIM, but that'll be able to roam on all the carriers. So once you pop that SIM card in, let's say if Verizon doesn't work, it automatically will fail over to AT&T. If AT&T doesn't work, it'll fail over to T-Mobile. And then if you cross borders in Canada, it'll automatically fail over to Rogers.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, so we're trying to do that for a lot of the
one pass,
IoT customers we work with. So when you have multiple devices out in the field that only need, and what we're seeing is a lot of these customers, they'll have every single major phone carrier, and so they're fumbling with all their bills. So we're like, what if we consolidate that one bill and just bill you based upon the white labeling that we do?
That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is another thing, but it's only really good right now, price competitive with very like IoT data. Because if you, let's say, we probably use how many gigs of stream? Probably 20, 30?
Yeah.
If you do that with this tri-SIM, it's going to be like $1,000, because essentially we are wholesaling the data for like $20 a gig, which is expensive, but customers are willing to pay for that if they're building like custom-built IoT applications. The price down, but that's sort of what we're working on now. Chris Beeman, good to see you from Arizona. Miami Walking and Driving Tours, good to see you. I have to check out your channel. Lady Sarita, good to see you. Jose, welcome. Abdullah says that's a great startup idea. Welcome. Dan Russell, long time no see. Welcome. Yeah, so I take this bus over there, the 3, and I go all the way to North Miami Beach. It takes 1 hour, so it's like the same thing as my Long Island Railroad commute. But it's not bad. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. I would think that the buses will have like a longer waiting time.
Yeah.
Headway right now. The time of day.
Yeah, everybody told me like when I moved down here, they're like, oh, you're gonna have a horrible time with the public transportation. I have no problem. I've had no problem with the public transportation down here so far.
I wonder if the Netflix earnings affected other companies, the single space like Disney.
Yes, so that's another good point. So what AK is saying is he's like, since Netflix got hammered, got hit after the earnings, after the bell, is that affecting other companies? Yes, Disney I think was down 3%. And that's another thing, like the cannibalization of the space. You know, you have
the biggest competitor, right? It's Disney.
Yeah, I think Disney Plus, Hulu is another one, ESPN Plus, and what they're doing is a free subscription to like ESPN Plus, but I don't even use it. So, and Amazon is another streaming service too. Yeah, which is insane. So one person in the chat, I forget who it was, I think it was Cindy Foley, they said during the pandemic, even though everybody was watching Netflix, nobody was shooting any more new shows. Months for new content, so everybody's already watched everything on Netflix. So it's like, what's the reason to pay for Netflix if we've binge watched everything and saw everything already? Roberts says no more original shows on Netflix anymore. Well, Seinfeld is exclusive to Netflix. I think that just happened not too long ago. Let's see if we.
Just another way too. A lot of these traditional media type companies,
Right.
they're gravitating away from that now. The audiences are
Yeah.
going to YouTube. They're going for other forms of
100%.
media, like Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So could you imagine if like Meta broke into that industry? So they mentioned that. I think it was a guy from Deutsche Bank asked Reed Hastings, "Do you think that you've reached a point of total saturation in the marketplace?" He actually admitted, he's like, "Yes, we think we have. So we're exploring an opportunity of a free subscription service to Netflix, but just running ads on it." I'm like, oh, so you're just going to do the same thing as, which I think could be profitable, but then it's just how do you convert your customers, I guess. So maybe what they'll do is say, okay, you could watch 5 episodes of Seinfeld for free with ads, and then you could convert to paid. But I don't know how many people would want to do that. So it's gonna be tough.
That's kind of like what the New York Times does. You have only 10 articles remaining this month.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the Wall Street Journal does the same thing. The terrible articles they give you for free, and then the good ones they slam you behind a paywall. So AK, what do you think about the Twitter debacle with Elon Musk? Because Tesla's reporting earnings tomorrow.
It's crazy, I know.
Yeah, so do you think that the entire earnings call is going to be about Tesla, or do you think all these analysts are just going to be talking about Twitter?
That's interesting. I think they'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, there's no way new Gigafactory in Berlin, they're going to be hammering Elon Musk about the takeover bid of Twitter.
Yeah.
So
maybe you should have waited until after Tesla's earnings to make that bid.
no, exactly. So are you in favor of that, or are you not in favor of?
I'm not in favor of it.
Of not?
Yeah.
So what would you think? Because Twitter, I mean, if you look at Twitter's stock price, and everybody in the chat, you could give your opinion on this too. It's been flat for 9 years. So CalPERS is California Teachers Pension Fund. They own, I think, I'm not sure the exact amount of Twitter that they own, but their returns have been, well, technically negative, factoring in inflation. So in order to increase shareholder value, what is like one thing that they could do to monetize Twitter? Because they've done a horrible job of monetizing Twitter. So what would you, if you were on the board, what is advice?
I mean, looking at Twitter, like I have a Twitter account, I barely even use it because it doesn't really seem to be like that interactive with me. It's just big lines of text and pictures. I don't really feel engaged in that way. But
Okay.
if there was something that made it more engaging, I don't know how, that would
Okay.
really make Twitter like more popular. Like maybe copy what something TikTok did a little bit.
So you think that?
Short videos.
So you think that the engagement's lower on Twitter because of the lack of videos and the lack of photos? Because if you think about Instagram or TikTok, it's all photos and videos,
Yeah.
right? But Twitter is just like hammering on text.
I think it's a little bit too much the way it is because
Interesting.
You scroll through Twitter, you see like a little bit of text at a time, a little bit of text at a time, a little bit of it kind of gets too monotonous after a while. Like if they make
Right.
like engaging article, I think that'll get more people's attention more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading. There's some guy that I actually follow on Twitter, and he's a equity research analyst that only covers social media stocks. If you could have all of these coders or these engineers essentially do a copy paste of what Instagram does, but just add another page to Twitter.
Yeah.
So instead of like all the monotonous text, you can have one button. And you could do all your advertising of, selling clothes or selling like home goods. Because now on Instagram, you have a lot of pictures, but if you click the picture, it takes you to the e-commerce page where you could buy things. Yeah, so what they were saying is just like put in a tab. Just put in a tab to do that. To your point, what drives interaction is video and pictures. But Twitter, it's just people typing things out, and that's why I think the only section of Twitter that gets engagement is like FinTwit, financial Twitter, because you're posting like, I'll post like a DCF model up there, and somebody will comment on it or something like that. But I think that's interesting.
Sometimes I read Twitter too. It's like people complaining or writing out their day, and I don't really feel like
Yeah.
too interested about it. It's like I'm so bored right now, not gonna.
No, I think you have a good point, but I think that Jack Dorsey created the best social media platform with the most potential, but just did a horrible job of monetizing it. And to your point, the way you're gonna monetize is by integrating more video and photos. Because if you look at the tweets that have the most engagement, to your point, it's like Elon Musk posting a meme of something. It's right. So I think you're right. Oh, Mighty Bull, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Yeah, the chat is about half and half about they think Elon Musk should take it over. I mean, I don't know. Elon Musk paid, I think he offered like $54 a share, which is a 20% premium to Twitter's net asset value anyway. So, I mean, that's pretty significant. I think that they should take it, but who knows? Shot by Scott, good to see you. Miami Walking. Pinterest, Snapchat, TikTok, and Facebook have figured out monetization except Twitter. I agree. Well, Meta's stock, I think, is off like almost 35% from all. Yeah.
Like $200 now.
Yeah, I think that stock got cut in half. I think what we're seeing is since rates are going up, you're seeing this crazy PE compression because a lot of these high beta tech companies, their earnings are predicated on, in the future. So if rates are going up now,
yeah, it's going to hurt the tech stocks the most.
Oh yeah, for sure. But the thing is, I don't want to style drift. Like I know I should probably be adding allocation to, oil and gas like Occidental Petroleum, and move allocation there. It's going to be a huge rotation of these tech stocks again. I'm going to get left behind. So I'm just like, all right, I'll sit on the sidelines and I'll just continue to dollar cost average into the S&P and like my IRA. And that's really about it. 007 says Twitter's total board members only own 330 shares. Interesting.
I didn't know it was that low.
Well, did you hear? So to your point, who was that? That was 007. To his point, Elon Musk was saying he was trying to make an argument like the board members don't really care about Twitter's day-to-day operations because they don't even use the platform. I think the top 5 board members of Twitter, they've only tweeted 4 times. So it's like they're making these decisions when shareholders should be making the decisions, and they don't even use the platform. So Elon Musk was like, look, I'm the only one engaging in it. He's like, I know what's going on with Twitter, and you guys don't even use it. Which I actually tend to agree with that. I actually kind of agree with that. Hey, Out and About, what's up? Is Out and About a moderator on your channel too?
She is.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Lizzo is the best. She's was one of my first on the channel. Buy the Book is here. It says, hey everybody, and Tom, good to see you. Buy the Book. Ron is here. Welcome. Good to see you, Ron. Jetstar. AK, I may pop on the Metro Mover. You want to take the Metro Mover, or you could?
Oh, the thing is,
does this one go to? Oh damn! I don't either. I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think we can do it.
Then I saw the other day there was a judge in Florida that ruled against the mask mandate while traveling. So I don't know.
Oh really?
The Miami government suspended it over here or what?
So I think.
I don't know what the update is now.
So I think you're right because 3 days ago, not 3 days ago. I think it was last week. I tried to get on the Metro Mover, but I didn't have the mask on me. And the guy, there's a person. I don't know if he's a cop. He's on every platform. So I think you're right. I don't have a mask
they're very
either.
Strict on that.
Crazy strict.
They used to be anyway. I don't know how it is when that ruling got issued. But
No, I think you're right. I don't have a mask on me. We could walk it. I'm down to walk it.
where are we going anyway?
So I'm going to go walk across the bridge to the W Hotel to the Riverwalk and do a lap and then come back.
Okay.
Weren't you Wasn't one of your prospective real estate investments potentially was going to be over there in Brickell Key?
Yeah, I thought about it, but
Yeah?
I
It's
didn't
too
really
far
like
away.
that area too much. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Shot by Scott. Yeah, a lot of people are saying, does AK live in Miami? Yes. Everybody's like, come back to New York. Hey, Carol H, welcome. Says, hey, Tom and Action Kid, so it's nice to see you. Nice to see you. Same thing, every time I go to New York, my first or second stream will be, oh, when are you going back to Miami? When are you going back to Miami? And then when you go to Miami, it's like, oh, when are you coming back to New York?
It's funny how that happens.
Yeah, it's like every...
And it depends on the location too, I find it sometimes. Like when I was up in Boston,
Okay.
nobody asked me if I was back in New York or Miami. It's funny. But when I'm down here, everyone asks me when I'm going to be back in New York.
Interesting. Well, maybe because nobody really... I don't think there's any streamer that covers Boston. There's all streamers in New York City. So maybe people... I mean, if there's a native person in Boston, I think that'd be a pretty cool city to stream.
Yeah.
Which area in Boston were you specifically?
I was in like the Boston Common, Chinatown, Faneuil Hall area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird. My brother moved to Boston,
Yeah.
and your brother is in Boston, but my brother is in pharmaceuticals. I still haven't visited him. I got to.
Yeah, you should.
Supposedly Boston's a really nice city, but unfortunately my brother's like now they're having similar issues to what's going on in big cities like New York. Not exclusive to New York. I understand Miami has its problems, but he says like right off the campuses of some of the major colleges, there's some issues with like crime and drug use. So, but it seems like that's in every big city, unfortunately. Lady Sarita, welcome. JF says there's tons of streamers in Vegas. So JF, what is the name of the big streamer in Las Vegas? Do you know the name of him?
I know. Pomsey.
Oh, Pomsey, yeah. Have you ever streamed with him?
No, but I met him.
Oh, really?
We hung out at a social event.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pomsey, and then there's one other guy.
There's Jaycation, he covers it sometimes.
Okay.
Who else? Turn It Up World.
Who is it called?
Turn It Up World. There are a couple.
I think I've seen Turn Up World. Oh, I think we got the light. There's another streamer.
Oh, Sin City.
Yes, Sin City is another one.
City's huge.
There's also one with who. When
He's in New York.
Yeah, when I try to learn Spanish, it's him, and then there's another exclusive Spanish speaker. I forget his name. He has a pretty big channel.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's Patrick Lopez and one other person, I forget.
There's Norma Helly too, who also streams Las Vegas. And there's another person too. I recently saw on my subscription list. I forgot the name of her channel. She's also like making videos and streaming in Las Vegas.
JF says it's Pomsey and Jacob's Life in Vegas.
Jacob's Life in Vegas is huge. Yep.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody in the chat's like Jacob's Life is in Vegas.
I know a lot of them. Went out there.
Sin City Manny, Al Baker,
Yeah,
Sin
City.
Really? So there's a ton of Vegas streamers. Interesting. Huh. Hey, Michelle O'Rourke is here. Good to see you.
I would say like after New York, Vegas is the other big city for live streaming.
So who would you say is bigger for live streamers, New York or Vegas? Because I mean, really, they just rattled off like 12 people. I think there's only like what 8 or maybe more. Huh. Well, I mean, Vegas, there's so much going on, so there's a ton of content. You guys should just walk up and down the strip.
In Florida, there's a lot of people who stream the theme parks, and that's big.
Oh yeah, I forget her name. Disney lady.
That crazy Disney.
Yeah.
There's Resort TV.
Oh,
That's huge.
and barefoot vlogger.
Vlogger, yeah.
He's from New York City, though, isn't he?
Yeah, New York.
Interesting. Yeah, he's good. I watch his stuff on his bike all the time when I'm at work. He streams from his bike. Hey, Sherry Rodrigo, good to see you. Says I love Disney Lady. Yes, crazy Disney Lady. Somebody says Resort TV 1. Atomic Skittles is like, I really enjoy Super Friends in the City. Yeah, Fernando, 100%. Yeah, I've known Fernando a long, long time. Usually I'm caught at this light for, well, I think it's Miami Tech Week.
Oh, yeah.
So at the convention center, there is the, what's it called? The Evolve FinTech Day.
You know, I still haven't seen the mechanical bull yet in person.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, you got to check it out. They moved it from the convention center to Miami-Dade College. Yeah, it's right there.
I wonder how long it's going to be there.
I think that's where it's going to be indefinitely.
Really?
Forever, yeah. Which I think is good because I think that is where the trading center is. So like all the students do, I think there's like Bloomberg terminals. You see like all the ticker tape going around, everything. So I think it's very fitting.
Just
But
be careful of that security guard who doesn't let you screen it.
yeah, with him. So he's yelled at me a couple times, but I'm just so non-confrontational. I just say, all right, yeah, take it easy. I just don't want any confrontation with him. But I think we're allowed to stream there. Yeah, a lot of people in the chat are saying they may revise the bull. Yeah, so they want to redo the Mighty Bull because they don't like how the bull doesn't have testicles. They think it's a castrated bull, so it's technically not a bull. Yeah, you know, you've heard of Max Kaiser, right? Like he's he's nuts.
He's the big one.
Yeah, he's like this crazy Bitcoin guy. He's supposedly, because the bull was actually created by TradeStation. So they're one of the broker dealers, I guess, software companies. The bull, but now Max Kaiser's offering like $100,000 to redo the entire thing, which I think is ridiculous, but whatever. But you should check it out. It's it's all lit up. Its eyes are glow green and blue. It's crazy. It's sort of almost, it's the same color blue as the City National Bank building, Miami Tower. Hey, Jose Hernandez, welcome. Good to see you.
Have you ever been inside this hotel and taken that underpass to get to the Miami Tower?
No, dude. There's an underpass there?
Yeah. I'll show
Really?
you if you want to go there.
Dude, yeah, let's go.
Because I stayed at this hotel, I know.
So this is the, what hotel is this called? The Hyatt, right? Okay. Yeah, I've never seen it.
I don't trust these large speeding and stuff.
Yeah, the drivers here are probably worse than New York. Water Blazing is here. Good to see you, Water Blazing. Shot by Scott, welcome.
A new route to show before.
Yeah, I've never even knew it existed. That's awesome. Everybody's saying, or Atomic Skittles. I definitely want to get there.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, but this bridge, sometimes the people blow like a 90 miles an hour on the bridge.
Ridiculous. And then over here you got I-95.
Oh yeah. Well, you can see all the traffic coming out of the game. NMB045 says Tom Rogers owns a lower cost carrier called FIBO, which is very popular in Canada, big part of Rogers Telecom. Wow, I'll have to check that out. You know, I think I've heard of them actually. I think I've actually heard of them. Shot by Scott, we got to go to Wynwood.
I gotta send you a link to this other app I found too called Freebie.
Freebie?
It's a
Okay.
app that's sponsored by I think the Miami government, and you
Really?
can get free rides all throughout Miami.
Like Uber rides?
Yeah.
What? What do you mean, like people and coming to pick you up?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never used it before, but
Is it like do you have to meet like a certain income requirement? Really? I'll have to check it out. It's called Freebie. Maybe Shop by Scott. So Shop by Scott or War Walker are both Miami natives watching the stream. Have you ever heard of Freebie? So we're gonna go check out the underground passageway here.
I'm gonna go top out right there at the Miami Tower.
Interesting. So ladies, Cerritos is Tom, AK. Are there any streamers in Texas?
Maybe.
I don't know of any.
Anyone who does like the type of stuff that we do.
Oh, it's through. Oh, we got to go inside. Nice.
Yeah.
Have you streamed through here before?
Yeah, I have. The hotel I stayed at last year.
Dang, this place is nice. So this is the lobby, everybody, of the Hyatt. Very nice.
Yeah.
The inside looks better than the outside. Yeah,
It does.
the outside almost looks like a jail. This place is really nice. Hey, Michelle McGraw is here. Dutchman is here. XOXX Bob. Oh, wow. Riverwalk Cafe. Shop by Scott's Tom. I still haven't tried it, but yes, Freebie. Did they pick you on their sponsor? Or did they pitch you on the sponsor?
I'll have to try it one day. I'll make a video about it.
Yeah, check it out. And you could just tell, and they take you anywhere?
No, just within their service area.
Ah.
You can't take it from like downtown up to North Miami. You have to stay within like.
Oh yeah, so War Walker says I take Freebie from Publix to the house sometimes. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to try it one day. But
Oh, so yeah, this is out. I think
Yeah.
I've streamed here, but not inside.
you
Wow, I
can
didn't.
walk right out. But at nighttime they lock it, so you have to
Interesting.
walk around.
Yeah, this place is nice.
Yeah. I love this hotel.
Yeah, this place is really nice.
I don't want to go out now because the doors are gonna be locked. But
So which way do we go out for the tunnel thing? Is this it? Oh, over here.
I just wanted to show you.
Oh yeah. I think I've streamed from here before, but I've never came in.
It's nice. And there's a ferry over there that takes you to Miami Beach sometimes.
Is it free?
No.
How
You
much
have
is
to
it?
pay, I think $13 if you're.
Oh, that's not bad.
If you're like not a resident of Florida, but $7 if you are.
See in New York. I think that's $2.75, right? Isn't it the same as just the regular subway fare?
Yeah, the
Yeah?
New York City ferry. It's $2.75.
Okay.
Oh,
Hey,
this is
Techno
here,
Pink.
Poseidon Ferry. You can even get tickets here.
Oh, this is what it's called.
Yeah.
Poseidon Ferry. Interesting.
Right.
Huh. Very cool.
Dock purchase tickets. Oh, they have the schedule.
Out and about says, is this a hotel or a residence? I
Oh, yeah.
think it's
Here's the
only a
face.
hotel. Let's see. Round trip, $22. So it's like
Yeah.
it's like taking the Long Island Railroad. It's
Pretty
actually
much.
not bad.
I don't know where in Miami Beach it leaves you off, but
I'll probably have to take that sometime. Never been on it.
yeah, schedule. Yeah, they don't have a really good schedule. Looks like
Yeah,
this-
that's like if you miss one, that's it. It's probably more of like a touristy thing, right?
yeah.
It kind of looks like it. But out and about, I think this is only a hotel. I don't. Is there any residences here? Like, can you buy
No, this is only
condominiums?
a hotel. And this is the night center.
Wow, I've never been in here, man.
This is the Miami Convention Center, and they have like events here too.
Interesting. World Finance Forum. Interesting.
Oh wow! So they probably had something here too.
Yeah, so it is Miami Tech Week, but I think the majority of that stuff is in South Beach, in the same venue that they did the Bitcoin conference at the convention center. Brad's brain's like, AK has been in Miami for only a month, but he knows his way around everything. That is true.
Well, I was here last year, and I stayed at this hotel, so I know like
Right.
where to get the metro mover and stuff.
Yeah, I only just use one. I only use either the 3 bus. Sometimes I take the 9. Have you taken the 9 bus? There's way more stops on the 9, so it takes me like 2 hours to get home. The 3 only has a couple stops. Abdullah says AK has awesome tips. I will use on my next time to Miami. Well, please use it, Abdullah. Please use it. Miami walking and driving tours. Says I just got back from the last day at Emerge. Dude, I was gonna go to that, but I didn't have time. I unfortunately had to work. But I'd be.
Take a look at this.
So this is like a horse.
It reminds me of the mechanical bull. Now it's a mechanical horse.
Wow. Very cool. War Walker, what's up? Lady Sarita says, by the way, Tom, the guy who bought Tom Brady's retainer, the auction house, gave him an out. So I wonder how much that football is worth now, since he's not retired anymore. Damn, I never knew this place existed.
It's pretty cool because I took it when it was like raining and stuff.
Interesting. Oh, it looks like a underground parking garage.
Yeah.
Michelle McGraw, what's up? Says that looks cool. Yeah, 007 says this Hyatt hotel is a little bit dated. I think on the outside it is.
Yeah.
But the inside is actually pretty nice. But then again, a lot of the older buildings look even more dated than some of the older buildings in New York because everything here is built like just a concrete cinder block because of the hurricanes. It's like the same thing as my house. If you see the outside of my house, it's just one big concrete slab. That's it. There's really no style to it like there is in New York.
And now we're in the City National Bank building, Miami Tower.
Oh wow, so we are inside the City National Bank building. Interesting.
And that's where it leads you off. If you want the Metro mover, it's over here.
And I guess this is what, like a little bit of a newsstand here? Wow.
Yeah, newsstand. The exits to the street.
Everything is very clean here though. This is like a conference room here?
Yeah.
Conference Center in Miami Tower. Interesting. So if we go up here, this is the Metro mover?
Metro mover.
Let's see if you want to see if we can take it?
Yeah.
If they kick us off, I just don't have a mask.
Okay.
There's always at least one guy there. Michelle, shot by Scott says you're in the tower. Now, oh, okay. So supposedly there's no more masks required.
Yeah, supposedly. For the judge's ruling, but
So I was talking about this yesterday on the stream, and I said, even though there's no mask mandate, the only place where I'll wear a mask is the New York City subway all the time. Because if you think about like how disgusting the air quality is down there, did you see that documentary they did with, they were testing all the air quality in New York. And essentially they said when the subway passes by, anytime you feel a breeze, all of that is like rat poison and all like nastiness from the subway. Because they treat the tracks with like rat poison. So when the trains go by, all that stuff kicks up. So I'm like, I think I'm just gonna wear the mask all the time. In the subway at least. But I mean, when the guy asked me to put on the mask on the Metro mover, like the majority of the stations are outside. Yeah. So I was like, it was weird. Okay, everybody, I think this is the Night Center. Hey, Bob says, this is the Metro mover. Yes, it is, Bob. Good to see you. Hey, photos from around New York. Good to see you. The Bandit, good to see you. Yeah, the Bandit's like that. It's gross and also true. Indeed, it is. Yeah, out and about. Agreed. Yeah, Triple G's like, I wonder if Tom could skateboard on the marble, maybe. We'll bring it back soon. We'll definitely bring back the skateboard soon. So this is where we were, the Miami Convention Center. And I guess we walked all the way underground back over here. It's a nice view from up here though. Hey Diana, good to see you. Hey Samantha R, welcome. John K. 007, welcome, good to see you. Dutchman says the Lone Ranger never left Damascus home. Good to see you, Dutchman. So Miami walking and driving tours is the interesting. Marty Lewis, good to see you.
Before attempting to board. For your safety, stand back from the platform edge.
So is this the Brickell Loop? Will this take us to Brickell?
Yeah, Brickell Loop. The next one's Omni.
So Omni will take us back to Bayfront Park, right?
Both of them do.
Interesting.
We're in a fast stop.
Let's see. This is 3 minutes. Hey, Marty Lewis, good to see you. Marty, did you go swimming today?
We're in a fast spot for the Brickell Loop because we have to do the full loop before getting in.
No way. No way.
Yeah.
An Omni-Loop train is arriving.
Oh, I
Stand
think
back from the platform edge.
this bridge, I thought, you know the massive bridge that's like super high in the air? That's not the Metro Mover, right? That's the Bright Line? Or is that the Metro Mover? Oh, is it really? So this is the one, right? We gotta go this one? Ah, we gotta wait for the other one.
An inner loop train is arriving. Stand back from
Hey,
the
the
platform
rundown
edge.
has just joined the stream.
Allow passengers to
Tom's
exit
got a
the
guest.
vehicle
Yeah,
before
so we
boarding.
got AK, the one and only. Good to see you. Sunshine 823. Yes, it is. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, a lot of people are saying they think the Metro Mover's more clean than the subway because there's almost no seats. So we got to get not this one. That's inner loop.
You could take this 2 stops and then transfer to Brickell Loop and go down.
So we're here. We got to.
Safety, stand back from the platform edge. When
Or
the
you
train
can
arrives,
get off
allow
here, walk
passengers
to
to
here,
exit
walk to here.
before attempting to board. For your safety, stand back from the platform edge. Thank you for your cooperation.
It's your call. What do you think is easier?
The train's coming now. So.
Aaron says, please go back to New York City. I love watching New York. We will be back very soon. Oh yeah, that is the Metro Mover. It's coming across the thing, but we got to go all the way around.
Okay, we'll go around.
Yeah, British Gray. Welcome, British Gray from Tampa, Florida. This is the Florida. The masks for travelers. I think the same thing with the airlines too.
Yeah.
So, Lady Sarita, everybody's saying everybody is vaccinated, so no need to wear a mask. Michelle K says, I like the name Brickell for a town. Agreed. I like the name Mary Brickell Village a little bit more. Yeah, Bob says the Metro Mover is also free, and it's packed. This is a hot car right here. Is this the one we got to get?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go. All right, so we have a long trip. All right, so we're on the Brickell Loop.
Pretty clean except for one piece of paper on the wall.
All right, everybody, so we are going to be taking the Metro Mover, probably for about a 20-minute ride.
I would say maybe 10 minutes.
Marty Lewis is one Florida judge, upsets the safety of a nation of travelers. Hey, Abdullah, thank you so much for the donation. Much appreciated.
The next stop is Bayfront Park Station.
Good to see you, Abdullah. Samantha R says Metro Mover time again. Samantha R loves the Metro Mover. The Mighty Bull says, Tom, move in front of the window so we can look out the window. Maybe we can see it from the front of it, from the front car.
Yeah, you can.
Let's see. Mighty Bull, I think we could see it from the front. Let me know if this is any better. Out and about.
Please hold on. The train is approaching. Bayfront Park Station.
So this is Bayfront Park. And you guys will be able to see the Ferris wheel. Savi, what's up? Says, so cool. Chris Beeman says, Tom, you sound so happy to have a walking buddy. Yeah, it's definitely cool to have somebody on the journey with us. The ABX girl says, on the Raleigh News, there is a story about an immunocompromised kid who wanted to fly to Disney. Yeah, that's a problem. Shop by Scott says, you're about to pass AK's crib. Somebody says, show me the inside of the Metro Mover.
I'm in your chat right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Stop it. First Street Station.
So we're watching our stream through the stream. Whoa, look at all the traffic out here.
Oh yeah, that's the Miami Beach game. Wow.
Can you guys see all the traffic on that side? It's insane.
Does this traffic affect your bus on the way back home?
It does, but usually everybody goes towards this way and out towards the highways. The 3 bus takes all the, not the highways, just the main roads. So it's not too bad. Samantha R says the traffic is insane. Jocelyn B says, what road is that? Do you know what road that is?
That's Biscayne Boulevard.
First Street Station.
Biscayne Boulevard. Hey, Kat, welcome. Good to see you. It says, how do they keep it so clean? I think it's because they don't. There's only like 2 seats per train car, so there's nobody that sits down. And probably like a fraction of the people ride this than in New York City.
I've also noticed when it rains, this thing never turns on.
I noticed that too. Yeah.
And if you think about it, why do they need a wiper for a motionless train,
Yeah, there's-
a driverless train?
That's so true. Yeah, so I was sort of making an observation. I think the reason why the Long Island Railroad, I mean, Long Island is bankrupt in and of itself, but I think with the technology we have, the Long Island Railroad could be totally operated without any conductor.
Yeah.
It could be like this, but the conductors make like $100 grand a year, just like punching tickets. But now the ticket's on your phone. I don't even buy the regular tickets anymore. Hey, NNB045, thank you for the donation. 10 CAD, thank you, NNB045, much appreciated. You're much too kind. Thank you so much.
I also got these people here that say they have an issue with us
Which one?
not wearing a mask. There's just 3 over here that. Where's it up? You can't see this.
I'm gonna stand like this when I come.
Michelle McGraw, what's up? At Different Takes, is that's known as a light rail system. Ah, gotcha. Samantha R says, Tom, I love the palm trees.
Yeah, I think they may have changed their policy because they're not
Commonwealth
saying it.
Fire Station. Transfer to 4.
Oh yeah, but that guy is always there. I think that's the same guy who told me I couldn't do it.
The next stop is College North Station.
Hey, Shop by Scott, thank you so much for joining. I think my battery is, let's see, 18%. But that usually takes us to right at the 2-hour mark.
iPhone 13 Pro Max.
Oh wow, yes, that's the Freedom Tower.
Freedom Tower. How's the street look right now? Oh, the parking lot emptied out.
Yeah. And 2 stops. This is where the Bull is.
Hold on. The train is approaching.
I wonder if we'll be able to see it from the train there.
I think you can if you look to the left. Hey, Jonathan Richards, welcome, my friend. Good to see you.
We see the Paramount. Yeah, they're right there.
Oh yeah. Jonathan Richards, Robert, welcome. Savi's is so beautiful. I want to go here. You got to come. Please visit Miami. Jetstar says, how fast does the Metro Mover go? I'm not sure. Do you know how fast it goes?
I don't know.
I'm going to say 25 miles an hour. Cindy Foley says, good night, all. Thank you, Sydney, for being here. Appreciate it.
This train will depart momentarily.
Oh, wow. How fast it goes. Ice is here. Good to see you,
I
Ice.
used this on the Amtrak. You went like 120. Oh, wow.
So we're already at 16 miles an hour, 18. Kat says, how many lines does Miami MTA have? How extensive? Not too extensive. I think it only goes around downtown and Brickell. The mover is 9. But the top speed is 35. Yeah, I think this station, no, the other station is where the Bull is. Lady Sarita says, Tom, Texas is bringing a bullet train like the ones in Japan that go 200 miles an hour. Really? Where in Texas is that going to be? Probably San Antonio. NPC 007 says, high speed Metro Mover.
You know they're going to build a Bright Line station at Aventura Mall.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, that would be awesome.
That'd be
That's
awesome
very
for
close.
you.
Yeah, very close to me. So how much is the Bright Line? 15 bucks?
I took it from here to Fort Lauderdale. No, the opposite way, and it was $7.
Wow, that's cheap. That's cheap.
No way, it was $7 for the Tri-Rail. The Bright Line, I think, was like 15.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's still cheap to go to Fort Lauderdale.
And it's clean, right? It's like a really nice train.
It's really nice.
Cynthia Beal, good to see you.
Hold on. The train is approaching.
Atomic Skittles, welcome.
Central Station. Transport
John says, how are you guys? I'm doing really good. This is where I got off last time and I got lost in this thing.
Government Center. Good figures.
The bandit says, how's Miami treating you? Good infrastructure? I think the infrastructure is pretty good. I'll show you guys what the inside of the Metro Mover looks like. But a lot of people don't take public transit here. The majority of people drive. But this is what it looks like on the inside. It's pretty clean. Day's work, good to see you. War Walker says, time check 10:57. Thank you. So I'll probably be right on time to get my bus.
Oh, good.
Roy S, what's up, Roy? Good to see you. Kat says, looks like the air train at JFK. It does. This is like a spitting image of air train. But the I took the air train. It's like, I think it's like $8.25 or almost $8 now. It's insane. When you think about it, it should be less than the Long Island Railroad because there's so much more operational expense on the LIRR. Paying all these guys, it's insane.
That's probably why my 275 option is doing well, that video.
Yeah.
You know there's an air train that goes to Miami Airport too? You can get there on public transit.
I usually take the bus, actually. I take the bus. Wait, there's a train that could go... Oh, no, yeah, you're right. So this... What train goes to University of Miami? I took a train to University of Miami before. That's not the Metro Mover, right? No, it can't be. Metro Rail, got it. Yeah. That is. Yeah, the Metro Rail costs money. I think it's like $5. I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, Bob's is Metro Rail. Bob is from Miami. Okay. The Bandits is the air train is a money pit now. Yeah. But they're redoing all the airports, like JFK. Every time it's actually pretty decent. It's actually pretty nice.
Hold on. The train is approaching.
All right, so this is the Wells Fargo building and the Miami Tower.
We were just there.
Yep. So we were at the next station. I think it was us.
We were at that station. We had to go all the way around.
Yep. The Regency Hyatt Hotel. Jose says Metro Rail. Tim says, show me the inside of the Metro Mover. This is the inside. Jose, welcome. Samantha R says the views. Yeah, so here is Brickell City Center. So this is where we're going all the way over here.
Stop it. Riverwalk Station.
Where you guys from? Yeah, just Jackson up the way there. Jacksonville.
This station, I've climbed up the stairs to get to the platform. It's no joke.
Oh my God! Yeah, look at how tall that
Nice, Jaguar. Nice.
But there's an elevator.
Please hold on. The train is approaching.
is. Wow, we're going all the way up.
She's a traveling nurse. I've been gone in 3 weeks. It's okay.
The Bandits is Tom. The Metro Rail will take you to the airport in downtown Miami. It should be extended to South Beach. That would be a game changer. I think it would. So, did you hear about the Boring Company wants to do a tunnel from North Miami Beach? Yeah, to Sunny Isles. That would be
Another
awesome.
project by Elon Musk.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, so right in front of us is Brickell. Out and about is like this is like the Jetsons. I know. I've never taken the Metro Mover to Brickell.
Oh, really?
Nope. I've only taken it around here. So I've actually never been over here. That's where I work out of. The WeWork. That's the one.
Just like the Post, right? T-shirts? Yeah. So that's Fifth Street right there.
Dutchman, what is going on? Good to see you.
That's 8th Street right there. Okay.
War Walker. It's like they do so much for our enjoyment.
This Metro Move is so convenient.
Alright, so now we are above the water.
Please hold on. The train is approaching. Brook Street Station.
Such a crazy
Hey, Yogi's here. What's up? Bob says the views are stunning from the Metro Mover. I agree.
I wonder if the entrance to the Brickell City Center is closed from the Metro Move.
I think it may be. No, they closed the gates at I think at 11, like to get inside the mall.
You can still go onto the street, or try going into the mall.
Yeah. NE says, I think the U.S. government needs to understand that companies like Tesla could do much better job at public transportation. I agree.
This train will depart momentarily.
Perry says, I'm surprised we're not hearing Spanish. I'm trying to learn Spanish. I'm doing okay at it.
I think someone asked me for directions in Spanish today. I wasn't able to help them.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm not too terrible. Alright, so now this is the Brickell City Center stop, I believe. This one. So we get off here, right? So you've been to that place? Remember that? I was streaming past that place one time.
Icon.
Yeah, it's. I think that's what it's called. We'll see. Yeah, it's actually a pretty decent place. All right, so this is we'll see if this is it closed on this spot.
No, I don't think so. It looks like we
So this is Brickell City Center. NMB 045 says, Tom, if you knew any French like me, Spanish is 100 times easier.
Passengers,
I heard about
for
that
your
too. I
safety,
heard Italian
stand
as
back
well.
From the platform edge.
I heard they're very, very similar.
Allow passengers to exit.
Robert says nobody is wearing masks. Yeah, I think they just lifted all the mandates, including on flights.
They still have the posters on saying they're required, but we saw a bunch of those.
Yeah, I think it's been like less than 24 hours. So, hey, Alj, welcome. Good to see you. Oh yeah, it's still open.
Wow. We're right under the button.
Yeah, so this is where it leaves you off at the Brickell City Center. Man, the clouds look awesome from here. Hey, Maria, good to see you. Welcome. So everybody, I have 10% battery, so we may just make it.
That's good.
We've reached our destination. This building is one of my favorite ones. Could you imagine the view from here? Hey, Cynthia Martinez, welcome. Good to see you. Brad, yes. So Brad, the newsletter, I'm going to send it out tomorrow because I want to add some verbiage around the Netflix earnings report. This place used to be a coffee shop, but it closed down. I don't know, or is it closed down, or is it? Oh, maybe it's still open. It looks empty, but
Is anything in this mall?
yeah, probably not. But this is Brickell City Center. Yeah, somebody says all the restaurants are open in Miami. Yeah. Sierra Sea. Yeah, so we're probably gonna have to. So all of the entrances are closed. My phone's gonna die, but we could just push the door open. I think you're only allowed out. You're not allowed in. Penelope says Tom is so good to move the camera slowly to not make us dizzy.
I think those are the sounds of gates closing.
I know. So I think next week is probably going to be the first solid week where I can bring back the skateboarding streams.
Nice.
But in New York, I mean here, just looking the draw. I don't know if I don't know, man. I think it's yeah, I think it's like a safety thing. No way. But I'll try it in New York because here there's bike lanes, but they're not like the bike lanes in New York where it's, you know, more open. Like the bike lanes here, they share the street with the bikes, a lot of them at least.
You can stream Miami Beach, that boardwalk area.
Oh yeah, I had still never been there. I want to check that place out, way down there. Caddy says, I appreciate him reading most of the comments, even though he doesn't agree with all of them. Absolutely. Whatever you want to post, post it. So yeah, we got to go down one more and then we can head out. But my battery is on 8%. Penelope is like, when is the Wounded Knee board gonna? Dude, actually, kid, I always get this same bot at every time.
Oh my God.
At like, do you ever get those bots?
Yeah, I do.
I wonder. I don't know. I wonder if it's like an actual. It may just be an algorithm that it's programmed just at this time at 11 o'clock. But who? I always think about like who actually clicks them. Who's like, oh, that's going to be so cool to click that. Like, I usually go out this way. Arturo Flores, good to see you. But everybody, I will end the stream here because I only have 7% battery. And we will be live tomorrow for a full earnings recap of Tesla. So ticker symbol TSLA is going to report earnings tomorrow. If you want to sign up for the Behind the Street newsletter, if you type !news, N-E-W-S, in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link. Special thanks to our pal Action Kid for joining us tonight. Appreciate it very much. JF, thank you for joining. Chris Beeman, and to the Mighty Bull, have a good night wherever you are, because there's always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look, and I'll see everybody right back here tomorrow. Abdullah out and about, all of our moderators, thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.